Hi everyone, this is Mix from Sneaks and Ball PH, and today we have a quick look and unboxing on the Nike Zoom Rize 2. To start things off, obviously the Nike Zoom Rize 2 is the successor to the original Nike Zoom Rize, which was definitely a pretty successful shoe. When the Zoom Rize released last year, it actually released at the same time as the Nike Alphadunk. Nike's marketing around both shoes was that the Nike Alphadunk was the premium team shoe, and the Nike Zoom Rize was the more budget-friendly option. They did share a pretty similar overall shape, and they both had those gigantic zoom units in the forefoot. The Zoom Rize actually looked like a more fitting Hyperdunk replacement because it didn't have such a premium price point, and it actually played really well on court. I wasn't really a fan of the aesthetic on the Zoom Rize 1, but it definitely got the job done on the basketball court. Fast forward to 2020 and the Nike Alphadunk is no more, and instead what you do have is the more premium Nike Zoom BB NXT and the more budget-friendly Nike Zoom Rize 2. Nike did do pretty much the same thing this year because the styling on the Zoom BB NXT is pretty similar to the styling you can find on the Zoom Rize 2. Then with that out of the way, let's get into the unboxing. So the Nike Zoom Rize 2 comes in your standard Nike sportswear box. So it's pretty much all orange. Then you have that Nike swoosh on the top, a Nike swoosh here on the side, and your sizing and colorway information. Now time to take a peek at the Zoom Rize 2. So you do have that standard style lid, and just removing the paper, I can definitely see the similarities between this and that shoe. So here you have it, guys. This is the Nike Zoom Rize 2. So just taking both shoes out of the box, so here you have your left shoe, and it really does look similar to this Zoom BB NXT. Then just removing a little bit of the paper, and here you have your right shoe. It definitely is an interesting look. So just getting this shoe over here, and here you have it, guys. This is the Nike Zoom Rize 2. Then just a few quick tech specs on the Nike Zoom Rize 2. So for the outsole, you have this sort of radial wavy pattern throughout the shoe, and the main points of the traction, or where those lines sort of spread out from, are here on the toe, here in the middle of the forefoot, and here in the heel. It does have a decoupled midsole and outsole, so this is supposed to make it easier to maneuver in the shoe. You also have this very deep flex groove here on the forefoot, and if the traction on the Zoom Rize 1 is any indication of what these will be, then it'll probably perform really well. I did try these out on my wood floors here at home, and they were sticking pretty well. However, I will go and take these out on court to see how they will perform. Then for the cushion, the Zoom Rize 2 does have a full-length injected Phylon midsole, and it does feel really soft and really plush. You can actually feel how soft it is just by pressing on it with your fingers, and it does compress quite a lot for a Phylon foam. Then here at the forefoot, you do have that distinct feature of the Zoom Rize line, which would be that absolutely massive Zoom Air unit. This Zoom unit pretty much encompasses the whole forefoot and is also a pretty thick Zoom unit. However, it isn't as large as the Zoom unit in the Alphadunk, and that's actually a good thing. This is because the Zoom unit on the Zoom Rize only reaches here at the base of the toes, so you do still have some flexibility in the shoe. From just an initial try on, the cushion feels amazing, and I can actually feel the Zoom unit even though it's heavily caged here on the lateral side. This cushion setup is definitely a little high off the ground, however I feel like it's not too bad. It definitely isn't as high off the ground as the Zoom BB NXTs, and since the Zoom Air is caged here on the lateral side and it uses injected Phylon instead of React, it does feel a lot more stable. The outsole also protrudes a little bit here on the lateral side, and that makes you feel pretty secure even though the Zoom unit is really massive. So just from an initial try on, it does have that same zoomy feeling as the Zoom Rize 1, but they definitely improved the flexibility and maneuverability of the shoe because of that decoupled midsole and outsole. Then for the materials on the Nike Zoom Rize 2 are pretty basic. So you have a pretty basic mesh throughout the shoe. There really isn't anything special about the mesh, and it is pretty cheap feeling and a little crunchy, but it is quite thin and it'll definitely move a lot better with your foot once you've played in these a bit. Then here at the forefoot and lateral side of the upper, you do have these TPU dots. These dots are kind of similar to the ones found on the Zoom BB NXTs, and this is to protect the material underneath. It definitely doesn't make the cheap mesh underneath feel any more premium, but it will definitely help with durability, especially here in the forefoot. You also have some mesh here on the tongue, and you have some foam back mesh here at the heel. You also have some pretty basic flat laces and a nicely padded neoprene sock liner. Then lastly, you do have some rubbery plastic here at the midfoot shank that goes all the way up to the lateral side to cage the Zoom Air. This definitely helps with torsional support here at the midfoot and a lot of stability here on the lateral side. Then for fit and sizing, I did go through to size and it fit me really well. From a width perspective, it was pretty much perfect. However, I did have some space lengthwise. I do have a normal width foot and I don't think I could have been able to go down half a size because you do have that rubbery plastic here at the midfoot that comes up to the cushion. However, if you do have narrow feet, I do think you could go down half a size and that would work out pretty well. So my suggestion would be if you have a narrow foot, you can go down half a size. However, if you do have a normal foot or a wide foot, I'd recommend going through to size. Then for the aesthetic details on the shoe, you do have a split look to the outsole. So on the left shoe, you have that bluish green and purple. Then for the right shoe, you have a little bit of reddish orange and purple. Then here on the midfoot shank, you do have a Nike swoosh cutout. Then here on the lateral side of the cushion, you do have some Zoom Air branding. And then here at the heel part of the phylon, you do have a Nike swoosh. Then here on the lateral side of the upper, you do have this purple outline of a swoosh. And then here on the medial side, you do have this small blue-green swoosh. Then on the tongue, you do have some Zoom Rize 2 branding. And just like the outsole, the colors are mismatched from the right shoe to the left shoe. So on the right shoe, you have that reddish orange and that purple. While on the left shoe, you have that bluish green and that purple. And then lastly, here on the insole, you do have a reddish orange Nike swoosh. Then for the overall aesthetics, I'm not really sure how to feel about this shoe. Because in some ways, it does look like a budget shoe. In other ways, it kind of looks like a basketball shoe with the styling of a running shoe. And in some ways, it does look a little futuristic. The styling is definitely influenced by the Zoom BB NXTs because you have that same overall shape and the Nike swooshes are actually pretty similar as well. I have the Zoom BB NXTs over here so I can actually show you what I mean. So it does look pretty similar in the way that you have that Zoom Air branding on the side. You have that overall shape of the upper and then you have that Nike swoosh. And then they also look pretty similar here on the medial side as well with the small Nike swoosh. There is also a colorway of the Zoom Rize 2 that released that has exactly the same color scheme as the Zoom BB NXTs, and that's exactly the reason why I didn't buy those, because those really look so much like the Zoom BB NXTs. However, even though they do have their similarities in the looks department, it isn't too much of a copy-paste, and I think that they do have their own look to them in general. So it's just kind of like the Zoom BB NXT is the older brother and the Zoom Rize 2 is the younger brother. I'm still pretty undecided on the overall aesthetic of the shoe because it does have this futuristic look, but it also has this sort of budget shoe look. So please sound off in the comment section down below how you feel about the aesthetic on the Zoom Rize 2s. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Or are you like me and you're pretty much still on the fence? But you know, from just an initial look at these, it does seem like it's gonna perform pretty well. So whether it looks good or not, if it's a beast on court, then I'm fine with it. Then for the price, the Nike Zoom Rize 2 retails for 7,345 pesos or around 140 or 150 US dollars. I'm not really sure about the exact price of these in the US because these still aren't available on the Nike site. However, here in the Philippines, it did release in 2 colorways. So you have this one and the black and neon green one. And those are available at the Nike website. I will definitely make sure to leave a link in the description box down below if you want to grab yourself a pair. The Zoom Rize 2 is in a pretty unique price category because it's actually more expensive than some signature shoes such as the Kyries and the PGs. But it's definitely not as expensive as Jordans, LeBrons, or even its big brother, the Nike Zoom BB NXT. It'll actually cost you 2,000 pesos or around $40 less to get these instead of the Zoom BB NXTs. And for what you're getting, I think it's really worth it. Of course, the materials aren't really premium and this isn't a signature shoe. But of course, you have that traction that seems like it's gonna perform really well. And then you have that absolutely massive zoom unit that no other shoe in the market has right now. So if you're looking for a good no-nonsense type of basketball shoe that simply gets the job done, then this is shaping up to be a solid pickup. So there you have it, guys. That was my quick look and unboxing on the Nike Zoom Rize 2. If you liked the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Then if you have any comments, questions, or any suggestions for any future videos, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below as well. Then also please sound off in the comment section down below what you think the real replacement for the Hyperdunk is. Is it the Nike Zoom BB NXT or is it the Nike Zoom Rize 2? Then if you haven't already yet, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications. It would help us out a lot. Here's Sneaks in Ball, PH.